when you can gain some perspective, because of course in the middle of a crisis you can't, but when you can gain perspective, there's always a lesson there. There's always something to learn. A program that you can just go online, pay $59 and do your own work. I can't stop reading that way. You can interpret that any way you want to start another conversation, but I am a survivor.
Hey everyone, welcome to tonight's episode of 𝗖cie𝗰𝗵𝗹 Give It Up, and welcome to our guest, Kat Young. It's amazing to have her here. She is really a true example of how you can turn adversity into giving back and doing amazing things. So she has her personal coaching business, Your Infinite Paths, and her nonprofit foundation, Your Infinite Paths Foundation. So there's such a cool story behind both of those things. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get to hear about it as she answers tonight's questions asked every guest. So welcome, Kat. Thank you for being here. How are you?
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm fantastic. This is going to be the epitome of my day. I'm going to be really, really happy with the results. But it's been a struggle day for me. So I'm really glad that I was able to be here tonight.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it totally. All right, so there's 14 questions we ask to every guest, and it just reveals a personal story in their own words and in their own way. So if you're ready, we can start with question 1.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, so what are you doing professionally in your business and why?
So I'm a personal and professional development coach, which basically says that I meet people where they are, figure out where they want to go, and figure out how to help them get there. And I'm doing similar things in the nonprofit world, but for people who can't pay a fee, and working with everyone from youth to adults to try and help them pivot and transition from difficult points of time in their life to really find success and happiness, and really define success for themselves. Because, you know, society has this great way of defining things for us, and then we latch on, and sometimes it just becomes our worst enemy.
Oh, for sure. I know there's so many expectations and standards we can fall into and then get off path with what we're really called to do, what we really are truly meant to do. So that's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did you start? Where did this all come from?
So it actually started when I was much younger. I've always had this desire to help other people. In school, I was the mom of the school, and people came to me with problems even back then. I struggled through my whole life, really, but especially as a young adult, became a single mom, 3 kids. And I had to figure out what I was going to do to support us, because being on welfare, of course, is not a long-term plan. So I was able to open up a daycare and start supporting myself. Then from there, I went to legal services, then to a manager of a psychiatric clinic, office manager. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to start doing stuff my way instead of doing it by somebody else's path, their policies, their procedures, their way of doing it. I think I'm going to try a new way. And instead of dictating success paths to people, I'm going to ask a bunch of questions, figure out what is going to work best for them, and help them have long-term success.
That is amazing. There's so few people who actually, one, decide to do it their way, and then ask other people what their way will be as well. So instead of trying to project your way, framework, structure onto them, that's really amazing.
Yeah, and of course, if they need a broader perspective, I certainly help them develop that, but it's very self-directed.
That's incredible. And I think that is what gives you lasting results, when you create it yourself, when you feel really grounded in what you're doing. Yes. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
I know that we had a bit of a personal conversation a little while ago, and I hope this is okay to bring up, but I just think it was so powerful because it really stuck with me from that conversation. and your decision to remain on assistance with your kids because of the position you were in, or branch out and do something on your own and start a business on your own, came down to a matter of $2, right? Is that correct?
$2. Yes. Yep. $2. I would have been with the appropriate child support, which I took. I was $2 over the limit at that time for getting any further cash assistance. I was still eligible, of course, for a little bit of housing assistance. I think some food stamps for a few more months, but yeah, it was a difficult decision, but I knew that I had to do it because I needed to teach my children that you have to forge your own way in life. You have to make those tough choices.
Wow, that is so powerful. You know, given given the option, a lot of people would have scaled back and just, you know, gone with the $2 just for the safety net.
Yeah.
That was like such a courageous move on your part. So it says a lot to who
Thank
you
you.
are.
But that's why I'm doing the foundation the way I am, because had I had better support systems in place at that time, I would have found lasting success much faster. And I want to be part of that safety net that people create for themselves so that they don't have to do it alone. It's very difficult to do that alone, but well worth the struggle.
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes you just need the right support to get you to the place where you can just continue.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
So who are your clients in your coaching business? You said that you work with like a range of people.
I do. Excuse me. I do work with a range of people. Most of them are women. A lot of them are struggling with setting healthy boundaries for themselves, learning how to say no and not feel guilty about that, learning how to let go of fear, and really coming up with a plan for whatever goal it is that they want, and really having the confidence to understand that maybe a pipe dream, but you can make a pipe dream happen as long as you have the skills and the support and the plan, and you're strategically thinking about every single step of what you need to do. And I guess the other piece is people oftentimes will bite off too much at a time. They'll say, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, when really they just need to do X. Complete X and then go to Y and Z, and just really take your time and take the pressure off yourself and enjoy the journey. Half of the successful feeling of empowerment comes from enjoying the journey. It's stressful, it's difficult, but there's joy in there too. And you have to just slow down and acknowledge that joy.
That is so important. And my mentor definitely shared that with me. And I get that. It's like, yeah, you have to step back and take a look and enjoy the process. But at the same time, you do need that support, because it's kind of like the feeling of, am I going to actually make it to the end? That type of thing. So yeah, totally get that.
Yeah.
So in terms of the nonprofit, how do people come into that with you and get supported in that way?
So we have a website. People go on, fill out what we call an application, but it's an initial contact form. They let us know of the services we provide, what they need, and then I reach out to them and provide it. So in terms of workshops, we haven't done a lot of them because of the pandemic. We're starting them back up, especially for Mental Health Awareness Month. And we are reaching out to the communities. As I shared with you, we're only a year and a half old. So we're young, and we're developing partnerships with other nonprofits, government agencies, so that they know what we do and can refer clients to us. And that's not to replace them in a client's life, but to augment it. As I was explaining to a potential partner just this week, when you have a person who has food stamps and cash assistance and housing assistance and support groups and employment job search requirements, all these different pieces, you need somebody to help them make sure that all of those pieces are accounted for placed in their full plan and broken down into pieces that they can manage and be successful with all of those entities without being completely overwhelmed. So that's the piece that we really offer other agencies. And of course, the stopgap measures for folks who are suffering from mental health issues. We are mental health first aid trained so that we can provide that support and referral to mental health providers. We are not a substitute for mental health providers, but we will hold safe space for a person until they can get an appointment, which is very difficult to get these days. Yeah. And of course, if they're in crisis, they're a danger to themselves or others, we would immediately get emergency intervention in place.
Wow, that's incredible. And yeah, just hearing some of the things you broke down, any one of those things, especially when you're under stress, just dealing with any of that kind of paperwork, bureaucracy, you know, I know from my own personal stuff, not that particular situation, but, you know, like legal papers regarding my separation and things like that. I'm just like, normally there's so many papers and I just can't think. So, yes. So to have a hand with that, it's like amazing. And just someone who knows the process, right, as a big picture, so you're not just overwhelmed by it and kind of check out. So that's amazing.
Well, even if we don't know a particular process, having another person who's not in a crisis standing side by you while you're in a crisis going through the process helps, because when you get overwhelmed and your brain stops working, I'm a survivor of domestic violence. Had I not had somebody help me fill out the paperwork to get a restraining order, I couldn't string two sentences together to find the right words to articulate exactly how in danger I was and felt. Yeah. So just having somebody who's not blocked by that fear and anxiety and overwhelm help you ask the right questions and navigate the system really is beneficial, whether they've been there or not, as long as they have an abundance of empathy and other world experience. We talked about that too. You can't just be, you know, somebody who's had a Pollyanna life, know all the textbook stuff, and then expect somebody who's been in crisis to really trust you fully. You have to have some life experience.
That's true. And I think, well, we already talked about this in terms of coaching and stuff like that. Sometimes people feel like they need a lot of certifications. And of course, you know, total respect to people who have achieved that, but sometimes you need the understanding just as much or more than anything else. So absolutely. Well, that's pretty powerful stuff that you're doing. So how can people connect with you? What are the best ways? And we'll throw this into the end of the video as well, but just so people hear it now.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so the nonprofit has a website. It's yourinfinitepathsfoundation.org. We're also all over social media, Your Infinite Paths Foundation or 𝗚IP Foundation. My personal coaching, I don't have a website. I don't believe in them for coaching businesses, but I'm on social media, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So you can find me there at 𝗚InfinitePaths, and on Facebook, Your Infinite Paths. Yeah, leave the coaching part off.
Okay, awesome.
And my logos are really the most distinctive for the foundation. It's literally an infinity sign that has markings of a road. So it looks like a crazy sideways crazy eight road, which was intentional. And the other is a black tribal cat.
Oh, I love that.
Which is a symbol of strength for me.
Amazing. I've always been like a big fan, definitely, of the infinity symbol. So both of those sound super powerful.
Thank you.
Well, that was question one and a pretty cool answer.
Oh my gosh, that was just question one. Okay.
Got 15 more, but they might not be quite as involved. We'll see.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so question two is, what would you never want to do as a job or profession, and why?
Oh, what would I never want to do as a job or profession? I think that anything involving putting my health at risk, and that would be the why. I don't want to put my health at risk. So things like coal mining or strip mining or things where I could be inundated with fumes or unhealthy work environment situations. Some can be avoided, of course, with mitigation, but others it's just innate. It's just part of the job. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And yeah, I can't remember the name of the movie, but I remember watching that story about Julia Roberts. She was the actress who was advocating against a dangerous work
Oh
situation.
yeah.
Yeah, so I get that. Okay, good answer.
Yeah.
Do you like going to libraries
Thank
or
you.
bookstores and being around the real books?
Oh, that's so hysterical that you would ask me that. My father is a librarian, and I grew up in the library. And I joined a book club a year ago, and I recently have set back a little bit because they'll go through a book in a week because they are doing it all on audio.
Oh my
And
God.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I have to schedule time, sit in a comfortable chair, smell and feel and touch the book. It's just a completely different experience to do it that way. And I also feel like we need activities that take us away from the screen. We are completely dependent on screens for everything. And yeah, I have to have an actual book in my hand.
I agree with you. It's like a whole tactile experience. And it's so great to hear that people still love that, because
Yeah.
most of this fear is going to be lost someday. I know it won't totally, but it's being replaced a lot. So I do love that experience of a real book, the smell, the experience of touching it, all that stuff. Yeah. And that's so cool that your dad was like,
Yes.
he must be
Yeah.
like ahead of the game for like looking stuff
Oh
up
my gosh.
like that.
Yes.
Into the homework research. Okay. What is the
And that was the thing. I could call him at work, tell him what I needed. Sorry. I could call him at work and say, hey, I need books on this research project. And he would pick the best reference books because he was the reference librarian. And so I had a little leg up on my project.
Oh, that's so super cool. I love that. Everybody needs a dad like that at times.
Yes.
Okay. Question 4. What is the most daring thing that you've done?
Ooh, I think that really depends on how you define daring. Honestly, I think being a single mother was pretty daring, and all of the roller coaster road that took me on, including I hate heights and roller coasters, and I rode them for my children because I didn't want to pass on my fear to them. So I think being a single parent is pretty darn daring.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
I can relate. My kid's dad's very much in their life, but yeah, that whole leap of faith to start over and do it on your own. Yeah, I totally relate. And I love the story about the roller coaster.
Yeah.
I think about that sometimes, about things that I'm cautious or hesitant about, and I'm like, I don't want them to pick that up from me. So I try to be aware of not not passing that along. But that's amazing that you actually fought your fear and did that for them. Very cool.
Thank you.
What is something that you wish you had said yes to?
Honestly, I don't think anything. I think the opportunities that I said yes to brought me to the next opportunity to say yes to, and I don't believe that I missed out on any opportunities. I may have delayed some here and there, but yeah, no. I think there are a few things I might have said no to that I didn't, and why it's so important to me to teach women the empowerment of the guilt-free no. But yeah, I said yes to a lot. And I don't regret any of that, you know.
That's the best answer you could give, truly, because I mean, yeah, not that there's a right or wrong answer. I just mean that it says to me that you take chances and you go for opportunities, and you're pretty ready to go with the flow. That shows up for you. And I really like that the way you learned the power of no in that. So that's a difficult lesson for sure. No is not an easy word.
Yeah, very. It's not. And, you know, I can't say that I'm perfect either. I do still struggle to say no to my children, and they're all adults. But, you know, in almost every area of my life, I can do it pretty well. So if I still spoil my kids.
It's a mom thing. That's okay.
It really is.
Awesome. So cool. Okay. Well, sounds like you had a couple of these, but what was a pivotal moment? What was a pivotal moment that changed things for you?
Pivotal moment that changed life for me? So many of them. I think I shared with you that I have 4 mothers, and my 3rd mother died when I was 5. So that was very traumatic. I later in life found out that I spent 2 weeks with my biological mother, a year with my foster mother. I had 3.5 years with my 3rd mother. And then of course I have my 4th mother. So that's a lot of bonding and abandonment that happened early in life. I think the divorce was very pivotal. Opening the daycare was pivotal. Moving to the DC metro area was pivotal. All of these leaps of faith that really altered the course of my life.
Wow.
I would definitely say that I wish that I hadn't had so much trauma, but at the end of the day, it's that domino of trauma that made me compassionate and want desperately to be a part of someone else's safety net. So
that makes so much sense to me. And yeah, going back to my mentor, we had this discussion about some things that have been like really hard. And I don't know, one discussion we had was, do you ever think that this stuff that has happened or is happening or all these experiences are to prepare you for what you're meant to do and the way you want to help people? So that's pretty much what you just said. So I can totally relate to that.
Yeah. I think it's important to, when you can gain some perspective, because of course in the middle of a crisis you can't, but when you can gain perspective, there's always a lesson there. There's always something to learn. There's always something to gain. That's what I hate the phrase, there's a silver lining around every cloud, but because I think it's too pithy. But I think that if you empower yourself to say, okay, this is some crud that I'm going through, but what am I learning? Or what did I learn once I've gotten through it? You know, we've talked about teaching kids these days how to critically think and pivot. If you have those 2 skills, then you can get through any crisis that you're in, because a lot of it really just has to do with thinking through the circumstance and being intentional about your response. My biggest thing this week is we had that pipeline in the United States go down for a while, right? Oh, yeah. And then tons of gas stations ran out of gas.
Yes, that's all I heard.
Nobody said that it was going to happen. And in fact, a few days after it was reported that the pipeline went down, people were already saying, look, people don't panic. It'll be back up within the end of the week. But people already panicked. So it was a self-fulfilling prophecy that the gas was going to be short. So at some point you have to think, okay, are they on top of it? Do they know how to fix it? And what do I really need to survive this situation, instead of hoarding all the gas and then doctors and nurses can't get to work?
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. I totally hear you. And yes, we're pretty far from you guys, but that was all over our news this week as well. Lineups at the gas station and gas running out. So it sounded
Yeah.
pretty scary in some places.
Oh yeah. Where I'm from in Waldorf, very, very many gas stations ran out of gas. It was insane.
Wow. Incredible. So I guess, yeah, in terms of, that shows the power of being calm and a little bit rational, even when things are coming at you, for sure.
Exactly.
Yes. So from just listening to what your answers have been, you also seem to have a very strong intuition. Is that true? Like you kind of make a lot of decisions on
I
gut feeling,
do.
logic.
Yes, yes. It's good to marry the two, and it's good to, but it's interesting because some people would say it's a strong intuition born from empathy. But because of how much trauma I have had, it's also a trauma response to be able to walk into a room and take the temperature of the room and read those microaggressions and micro inflections in your facial expressions and body language. So it's difficult for me to tell where it's coming from, but at the end of the day, it definitely serves me well. You just have to pay attention.
Yes. Yeah, it's your internal guidance system. So that is so cool. And I love the fact you pair it with logic because I love the intuition. I love all that that sort of woo stuff. But when it comes down to it, I work in science and I need to see some logic in it as well. So totally relate to that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So what is something that you thought you were going to love and you didn't end up liking it?
I think that the shine wore off of owning a daycare. I grew it from having just 6 kids to 12 kids with 2 employees, and I thought I would be able to do that long term, but I missed interactions with adults.
Mm-hmm.
And so going an entire day repeating the same, no, Timmy, you can't do that today, or please don't hit Emma today. It was just a little too rudimentary and I was losing my grip on intellect. So I thought I might be able to make that a career for myself because, of course, it was so great to stay home with my children while they were young. But I had to pivot and give back to the community in a different way.
Wow. So do you feel like you were able to structure what you're doing now from having to structure that business at that time? Like it seems like you just created that out of, well, not out of nowhere, but kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, the difference though, the coaching business, I've never been the best marketer, so I'm still learning marketing. And there are a lot of rules and regulations for nonprofit that had to be learned. So I had to go to training for that. And I have ongoing training, and the board and I work together to make sure that we are maintaining ethically and fiduciarily our responsibilities to the organization and the community. The coaching is a little bit different because, of course, all of us coaches handle our businesses differently. I'm not one of those coaches who's ever going to have an automated program that you can just go online, pay $59 and do your own work. I can't operate that way. I have to hear your story. I have to figure out the little nuance of how to get you to your next step and what questions to ask you for that to spark in your mind on your own without being told.
Yes, that's an art. That's amazing. And exactly, I can't see you doing the automation thing. And some people, I'm sure it's perfect for them, but to me, that sort of thing, whenever I came across it, it kind of, I felt like pushing it away because it just felt too impersonal. So,
and it works for a lot of clients, and there's definitely a market for it. I don't knock that. It's just not my ideal client. That's just not my ideal client.
No, I can't see that being for you from what you've from what you
Yeah.
said, and all the stories that you shared. So it's cool. Okay. So are you the first person on the dance floor? Do you ever get to go dancing?
Oh, gosh, no. No, I'm probably the last one because I don't have any real rhythm. I just have my own. And if you don't like it, I don't care, but I need some cover for it.
You just kind of want to sneak in. That's cool. That's fair. As long as you get out there, that's all that matters.
Definitely, definitely.
If there was only one thing you could share about yourself with other people, what would that be?
I'm a survivor. And you can interpret that any way you want to start another conversation, but I am a survivor.
That is so super evident and so powerful. And what I would share about you from that little bit I have known you is that you're teaching other people to be that too, in a powerful way, beyond
try.
just surviving, but flourishing. So
Yeah, I really try. I do.
I love that, and people need that so much, especially now. I mean, always, but I think that almost every person I know on some level is just finding it a little rough right now.
Exactly. And I just had that same exact conversation with my board of directors this week. It's just right now, it's a struggle for literally everyone. And there's no shame in that. People should take the stigma off of meeting one another. We were not meant to be islands. We were supposed to be interdependent from the beginning. And all of a sudden, somebody coined this self-sufficiency phrase and got on the bandwagon that you're supposed to do it all alone. No, no, ma'am, no, sir. We are all supposed to work together to benefit the community and ourselves.
Yes, and maybe that's some of the lesson in this time right now, because yeah, exactly. There's such a stigma in Canada, I'm sure the United States as well, just to like not need anything or ask for anything, or
Right.
it's kind of like a sign of weakness, right, to say that you need some support.
Exactly. And I'm all for capitalism, but I say I'm all for responsible capitalism. Make sure that you're well taken care of, and you are doing what you need to support your family and have cushion, but don't let somebody suffer when you don't have to. That's just irresponsible to me.
Exactly. Okay, so what is your favorite word and why, and what is your least favorite word and why?
Ooh, my least favorite word. I guess it's the same word, but in different circumstances. So my favorite word is no. And when it is my favorite word, it's when I feel like I can say it with compassion and strength. And I hate being told no.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the most interesting answer I've had so far to that question, because
really,
I've had people say they hate the word no, but I've never, your version of why you love the word no is so powerful.
Oh, thank you.
So it's like the perfect dichotomy or dual aspects. Love it. So
yeah,
that's a great answer. Totally understand that.
Thank
you. Well, I think I already know the answer to this, but do you fight fair in an argument?
Ooh, 99% of the time, absolutely. I think that it's irresponsible not to, but I also have this, what people coin as a toxic trait. If I don't think that I can have a productive conversation, I've gone days without talking to people, because every time I think about the conversation, I just, because I'm a Scorpio, Italian, Irish woman, I will lash out in a second if I have that opening and I'm not working on myself daily. So I have to be very careful how I choose my words when I'm angry, because you can't take those words back.
No.
But if you go silent for too long, you're doing just as much damage to that loved one as you would if you just let all the negative words come out of your mouth and hit them like a ton of bricks. So yeah, that's my struggle. I have to continually have that. And then you always want to know, is this going to really matter in a year? Is it really worth being angry and upset? Or is it worth just saying, hey, you know what? I was angry about XYZ, but I'm not anymore. So let's move forward.
That is really, really powerful and not easy to get to.
Yes. Oh no. Yeah, it's a struggle. But if you care about somebody and you want them in your life, you have to make those decisions every time you have a conversation.
Yes. I know if I'm grumpy or tired, or I just want to get that last thing in just so it can be right.
Yes.
Process just to be like, okay.
Yep.
That is a really insightful answer.
Thank you.
Okay, so who in history would you help or stop if you had the chance?
I'm sorry, who in history what?
Who in history would you either help or stop if you had the chance?
Whew. I would have loved to help Dr. Martin Luther King. I would have loved to help because I feel like for the advances that we made, we haven't made enough. So I would have loved to help with that. And I think that I would have loved to be a part of stopping every leader who was a catalyst for genocide.
Yeah.
And there have been so many over time since the North American continent was settled to now. So yeah, that's what I would have stopped.
Oh, that's incredible and such a great answer for sure. And yeah, Martin Luther King, if he had more support, and I wonder what would happen truly. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if he didn't have people, eroding his progress, we would have been a little bit further. So yeah, I would have definitely tried to help him.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Okay, so this one is just for fun. So sweet or sour candy, chocolate or salty snacks?
Okay, so definitely sweet, but I have to be careful with all these snacks because I'm diabetic. I think it depends on the snack. Like I love popcorn, but I prefer kettle corn. So there's that little sweet to it.
Oh, that's a perfect sweet and salty.
Yeah, but I love potato chips and dip. So there's a little bit of it all in me, So yeah.
It's a
little salty, a little sweet, kind of like my personality.
Do you like the Chicago popcorn?
I've never had Chicago popcorn. What is that?
You gotta try it. It's cheesy and it's caramel mixed together.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try that.
It's pretty good. It's pretty addictive.
Okay. Well, I have homework after the interview.
You do. It's kind of like a amped up version of the kettle corn.
Okay, cool.
So the last question is, what fictional place do you wish you could visit if you could choose one?
What fictional place would I go? I would love to live in Wakanda.
And why would that be your choice specifically?
I think that they had not only the technology advances, but the sense of community that I would love to see. That even though there were separate tribes, there was respect among them, and they saw how they were interconnected.
That's amazing. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like a small utopia.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, awesome. Well,
what's your fictional place you'd love to live?
Oh, wow. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but I'd love to take the magic carpet ride in Aladdin, and it's a world.
Yes,
It's got
yeah.
the dance, it's got
So
the
stay in this world, but just fly around and explore.
exactly, yes, with the handsome prince. That sounds like perfect to me.
Oh, that's amazing.
Thank you for asking.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, you made it through all the questions, so you're an awesome guest. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to make another reference to how we can connect with you following the video.
Okay.
But love what you're doing with Infinite Paths, and definitely will be referring people to check out your stuff.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me. This was actually a wonderful interview. The mix of professional and personal was just great. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Loved talking to you, and we'll talk to you again very
Sounds
soon.
good. Sounds good.
Okay. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
'Cause with you by my side, I got